Well, let's speak to Lindsey German from the Stop the War Coalition, who's joined us here in the studio. We're very grateful for your time. Where are you on this, on military action on Syria?
We very much oppose it. We're having a number of protests about it already, and we're receiving a very, very big response from people. We think that the talk about humanitarian intervention should be rejected because we've done this previously. It happened in Libya, happened in Iraq, happened in Afghanistan. All of those wars resulted in more deaths and more refugees. So we believe that this is exactly the wrong thing to do.
As Downing Street was saying, only again, they've said it before, but only again in the last half an hour, can the world stand idly by when chemical weapons have been used?
Well, they always say this. They always say we must respond now without thinking about whether it works or not. And the truth of the matter is the previous interventions have not worked. Chemical weapons have been used, actually, if you look, by the Americans themselves in the past, in Iraq and in Vietnam. So it's slightly hypocritical that they're now saying this. But what we're saying is there is an alternative to this. We don't need to have another war in the Middle East. And
sorry, what is the alternative?
Well, the alternative is there has to be some sort of political settlement. This is what the G8 agreed back earlier in the summer. There was meant to be an international conference. This hasn't happened. And the truth is that now there is the move towards military intervention, which nobody knows what the consequence of it will be. Nobody actually knows the truth about the chemical weapons. There is absolutely no reason to go ahead, as is now being talked about, in the next 2 or 3
Well, the Americans are talking about releasing or making public some of their intelligence by the end of the week.
Well,
is that not enough?
If you may remember, in 2003, Colin Powell did exactly the same over weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and that evidence turned out to be totally false. And people have the right to be sceptical about the Americans just saying that they have evidence when they may not have, or it may be evidence which isn't accurate.
If you end up doing nothing, doesn't that simply give the green light to President Assad, if he has used them in this instance, to use them again, the chemical weapons?
I think it's rather the wrong way to look at it, to say that we've been doing nothing. Britain has intervened repeatedly in the Middle East, historically, but more importantly in the last 10 years, with disastrous consequences.
No, but with this conflict, every effort, every diplomatic effort that William Hague and others have tried have not worked.
Well, that's simply
They've
not
not
true.
got them to the negotiating table. They've not stopped the attacks.
I'm sorry,
they have not worked.
The Americans prevented Assad from coming to the previous peace talks in Geneva. The truth of the matter is they haven't tried this. They want intervention. They've been arming the rebels for some time, including the region in the Middle East, the Turkish and Saudi Arabian governments, the Qataris. All of these have been pouring arms and weapons into the region. And in that situation, they haven't tried a diplomatic solution. What they are wanting to do is cause another war, which may have much bigger consequences than just in Syria itself.
OK. Lindsey German, thanks very much for your time. Thank you.